Hello, and welcome to episode 147 of the MisanthroPod. I'm Snipe. Or am I? And as always, I'm joined by Wib. Say hello.
Hello.
I'm also joined by Drumbly Bumbly. Say hi.
Hi.
How are you lovely gentlemen doing this fucking horribly warm evening?
I'm okay. I feel like... I think, like... Every other episode we record, it is uncomfortably warm.
Yeah,
so
I don't know how that works, but...
It's us doing it. We're the ones who are making everything really hot.
I feel like most of the episodes now start with like, wow, it's really hot. I'm sure there's nothing about climate change in there. Like, don't think about it. Don't think about it. But apart from the impending doom of all that we know, I'm doing okay. How are you doing, Matt?
Yeah, I'm alright. Apparently I've got a hair or something in my face and I can't work out where it is.
Just one?
So now we have... Well, I mean, I'm getting that way. But,
it's the one hair!
no, I'm apart from, warm, but coping just about. I had to have a sit down earlier because I genuinely thought I was going to like... We had we were outside all afternoon at a sports day thing, and I got home and I was like, I need to sit down because I feel like I've just been in the sun too long and I feel like I'm going to collapse.
Mm-hmm.
I think I'm over it now, so I think I'm all right. How are you, Snipe?
I'm okay. I wanted to. Somebody left a comment, basically claiming that I was the homophobic one. I am. For the audio listeners, I am holding up a pride flag, which is suspiciously absent from DrummerMatt's background, I noticed. He's the homophobe. No, doesn't count. Don't look at his nails. He has pride nails, but they don't have the progressive...
They don't. I don't have the skills to go into more details than basic block colours. I also... The problem is, with the pride... Okay, no, hang on, I'll rephrase this. I don't want this out of context. I was going to say the problem with the pride flag. The problem with hands... is that you have 5 fingers and there's 6 colours in the sort of standard basic pride flag. But I get around that by doing like an orangey red and combining orange and red on my thumb, and it kind of works, I think.
No, homophobic. No, you're homophobic.
I should probably point out the context for other people who missed last time. I've obviously got a pride flag knocking around in the background here, and Matt had one in the last one, and Snipe was the only one that didn't. So.
I did, but what?
I just want to clarify that I haven't taken it down out of any kind of principle. It's just
it's July 1st. Who cares?
It's still in my drum bag from the gig we played. We played with Traitor Band. Played at a Pride down this way.
Stop calling them that! Oh my god! So DrummerMatt is in our band, obviously DrummerMatt, but he's also in another band that he never... I don't even know what the name of the band is. He just calls them Traitor Band. And like, I know that there's like ladies in it, and you've accidentally referred to them as Traitor Band while in their presence, which I'm sure felt great.
It wasn't an accident.
You needed to let them know where they were. No. You needed to let them know they were the side band.
Joking aside, we should get a gig together because I think they would be very
so
on board.
Weird.
They would be very on board with everything this podcast is about. Apart from, I'm not sure their views on like 40k. But, I mean, or like, I know they're into gaming.
Are they, okay, what kind of queer are they?
And they're all assorted queers.
Okay, do you have any trans ladies in there?
We have 2 trans ladies.
Then they are absolutely into 40k, don't worry about it.
We have...
Ask them about Drakari.
Okay.
I have trans girlfriends, I'm allowed to say that. I hope I haven't upset anyone. But yeah, no, that would be really, really cool. That would be cool.
Anywho...
Yeah.
Yes.
The flag that should be there is in my drum bag from the weekend. It will be fixed. It will be fixed by next episode.
I'm sure it will.
Okay. Good. Anyway, so as a sort of general thing, I did want to go back over a thing that we covered in the last episode, which is that we looked at the auto-generated titles for the previous episode on Spotify because they were deranged.
Was the conclusion of, at the time it felt like that segment was too long?
No.
Oh, it definitely was. That's why I am going over it very briefly. But I just wanted to highlight a couple of the chapters because I think they're funny.
Yeah. Okay.
Which is, there is a chapter title just called Chapter Titles.
Good.
I mean...
Which makes sense.
Yeah.
There's Matthew's Gaming, which I just find oddly quaint.
Oh, that's like DrummerMatt's first. Either of you, Matt's first like GeoCities account. Like, hi, this is Matthew's Gaming.
Oh.
I'm playing Final Fantasy. I like it because it's cool.
There's also Jeremy's New Gym Shoes. I do not remember.
Fuck.
I don't remember what that's about.
Okay.
There's Gene Stealers, but it's spelt as in the trousers.
Yeah.
Which makes
Gene
sense.
Stealer Jeremy.
That is one of the bits on the. This is spoilers to what I want to talk about later, but in the Gene Stealers 1D6 tactics website thingy.
Yeah.
In the pros and cons, it says there is a point about being careful wearing jeans because people will make that joke.
Yeah.
Like one of the cons of playing the army.
I mean, to be fair, like
it's already happened.
You found the only good bit of 1D6 Chan, which is the tactics pages, which are generally all right. Every other part of that website, do not look at it. It is terrible.
Also, DrummerMatt, I think maybe you've edited that page just so you have an extra excuse to wear more corduroy.
I mean,
that sounds like I'm being aggressive or mean.
I try and deny it, but
we've also got this is one of the ones that was the most surreal, which was Snitch's Tyrannid Army.
Tyrannid.
I understand it trying to phonetically spelling Tyrannid, but Snitches.
Snitches get Gene Stealers. What?
It tried to spell Vajankle, obviously spelled it as Vajangle.
I mean,
I knew a man who would dance for you in worn-out shoes.
It's one where it goes right up to the knee and it's got the...
Are you talking about Vajankle thigh highs?
Yeah. Yes, I am.
Pull on the labia over the knee. Perfect.
There's Blood Wow. Don't know what that means.
Blood as in blood wow as in wow.
And the last one I'll bring up, what has Kevin been up to?
Kevin,
I don't know, what has my dad been up to?
Is that your dad? Is that...
Yeah, Kev, it's been a while. Come on the podcast.
Anyway, I just wanted to go over that because, again, every time they are just surreal in their own unique way. I think that's quite fun.
I love it.
But we should get to the main the main topics, which is what each of us has been up to. So, Snipe, what have you been up to?
Well,
in the last 2 weeks?
I bought these pens. I saw them in a shop, and I'm going to describe them to you.
That's how buying things usually works.
True.
Actually, that's a lie. It's not how buying things usually works nowadays, is it?
They have little cowboy hats on them.
Oh, nice. I like that.
And they say things like, howdy, y'all. They are so stupid. And they're erasable, which is... I was just like, now y'all are talking my language. So that was fun. I have not been up to a massive amount. Hello there, Editing Snipe here. Because I've been so stressed out and awful lately, I completely forgot to mention the fact that I've started a new podcast with my friend Adam, who is also from our band, Fighting Evil is Cool. Adam, the trumpet player, and I have a new podcast called Driverless Horses that should be available on Spotify and wherever else you get your podcasts. I'll have a link in the show notes to the YouTube and the Spotify. Okay, thank you, bye. Just started playing Diablo IV because my friend Rain bought it for me because they're a little shit. Which seems fine. Okay, that's mean.
I like that detailed review.
The story, so far I'm kind of like, okay, so I had this very funny moment. So it's not really spoilers, it's like the first 5 minutes of the game. So, you go into a village and it's like fucking Ruski village. It's the most Russian written by someone who doesn't come from Europe. And like you go into a barn and there's a woman going, you have to help us. We are being harassed by monster. And you're like, just fucking put a point on my minimap and I'll go kill something. Don't talk to me ever again. Awful. And there's like, this guy's crazy. Well, there's demons, I guess. Go fight the demons. So you go and clear like a cellar and it's really easy. And I was like, well, it's intro to the game, whatever. And I'm playing a lady necromancer called Puvy. So,
oh god.
Yeah. Not Puvy, for those of you who are familiar with our Wrath and Glory. Oh, what was it?
Soulbound.
Yeah, Puvy is awful. And I love her.
Your RP character who was a bright mage and a nightmare.
Yeah, she is just literally a nightmare. Always a nightmare. And then you go and clear it out, you get back and they're all in their terrible Russian accents. Like, oh, thank you, that was really cool of you. And then they're like, stay with us, have some stew and get blind bastard drunk. And then your character, it just shows like some awkward scenes of like, very WoW coded kind of like your character sitting there doing that, like swaying a mug, like a tankard around. And then they just collapse and I was like, so this was written by a man. Because the entire village is like 4 people and 1 woman. And they're like, come and get drunk with us. And your character's like, yeah, all right. And I'm like, no.
Yep.
No, that's not going to fucking happen. No, thanks. I will maybe have some food and then be on my merry way. And then shock horror, then you get wheeled out into like a church to be an offering. And there's like all these body parts and everything everywhere. And then there's like, you go to see an old man who would. And he comes in and is like, I'm being very mean to Blizzard because it's so easy, but also it's funny to me. Yeah, no, if you like it, then I'm glad, and I don't think that speaks ill of you. I just want to make fun of Blizzard because I can. It's quick, it's easy, and it's free. And he walks in and goes, oh, you break into my home, you pilfer through my things without the decency of joining me for dinner. And I'm like, no, thank you, sir, I'll be on my way. And then you join him for dinner and drink, and I'm like, no, this is written by a man. There's no way. I'd be like, no, I'm stabbing him, and that's just not me like role-playing Puppy. But so far it seems pretty fun. I'm getting reused because I played so much Diablo 3. I'm kind of getting used to it again. But yeah, that's fun.
Well, I mean, with Diablo, it's more about it's more about the grind of the thing than the actual story, to my understanding. I mean, of Diablo. I've never played a Diablo game, so if I am wrong there.
The way I play Diablo 3 was I played through the story once, and then I was like, that's cool, Azazel's hot, okay, that's enough for me. And then I'd basically start a new seasonal character, because there's like a season, and then you create a character for a season, and as you level up and go through, you unlock rewards from the season, basically. But you have to create a seasonal character to do that. So it kind of encourages repetitive grinding, which I am a mark for. And I think Diablo 4 goes in quite a similar kind of way. So I'm like, okay, I want to just go and do what's called a rift, which is basically like a solo instance where you just go through like, an instance and go get a bunch of like really high powered gear and stuff. I always did that with Diablo 3. I'm just kind of like, new character. Literally the moment, like, I'm skipping all the story because you can do it without the story. And it's like, okay, you start off in like a hub, and then I go straight in for the rifts, and just that's all I do until I hit max level, because that's just how I like to play. It's like when I play WoW, I'm like, okay, get to level. I think it's like they did a big level squish. So I think it's like, you get to level like 10, and then I just dungeon until I hit max level, because that's just something I really really like. And I'm like, no, I'll do the story, and I'm like, even this could be the best story ever, but because the gameplay, I'm kind of like, I'm not really able to give it a fair chance so far. But it seems fine. But yeah, the gameplay is pretty decent.
I have slightly realised, like, with you talking, I'm like, actually, I don't know if my perceptions of Diablo about, like, people not caring about the story are valid. I just realised, oh, wait, no, the only person I've really heard talk about Diablo is Snipe. and they play it a very particular way. So, maybe I'm just way off
don't give
here.
it a fair call.
I actually realise I'm like, actually.
Yeah, maybe I'm the worst person to like. Mechanically, it's very fun. Gameplay, I'm very cringe. I'm like John Carmack in a way where I'm like, story stupid. Want to hit thing with gun or like whatever. But no, I hope that'll go well. Another game thing is I've been playing the Siege mode in Space Marine 2, which was recently added, which I really like. It's really fucking hard. Because it's like 25, because it goes in slots of 5 levels, like sectors they call it.
Waves,
and then you kind of every 5 levels you go up to a sector, and then you can call it at like when you move from a different sector. So every 5 levels you can kind of go, okay, oh Jesus, that was tough. And it's like you get 3 Marines, you get random points throughout that you can spend on, like you can get ammo, you can just dump all of your points into like saving up for a dreadnought, like a redemptor to come in and help you out on a wave, which is really useful when it gets to the later ones.
When you've got to take out a couple of hell brutes, having a redemptor on your side is very helpful.
Yeah, it gets stupid. Like I haven't gotten past 10. And there's like 20...
we went up to 15 on stream.
We're up to 15? Okay, yeah. I haven't got past 15 then, call me a liar. But like I'm like sitting there going, I honestly don't understand how anyone can do the harder modes. And then this is on normal, like you get to 15 and it's just ball busting. If you don't know exactly and plan what you're doing as a group, I wouldn't ever want to go that high with someone I wasn't in voice communication with. Because it's just, would that be grim?
There's a lot of like, there's a lictor over here, and then the other person goes, there's one over here too. And the other one goes, there's one here too, and a biovore. And you're like, that's funny, a biovore just showed up over here as well.
Biovore, that's so funny. There's 3 Carnifexes right there. What are we going to do about it? It gets pretty intense. Like when you have like 3 gigantic health bar from like extremist threats, you're like, oh no. This is the worst day of my life, but it is really good for building up XP and requisition. It's quite quick. It's quite snappy like that, and I actually really do like that because like I think like the standard kind of like just doing the missions like that's good, but it tends to have quite slow moments, and I'm like, no, I want to be hit in the head with a frying pan until I go, no, that's enough. You know what I mean?
Yeah, if you get to 15, then it's like which is totally doable if you know what you're doing.
We did it on stream with Longfang, our friend.
Yeah, you get like 300 requisition drop from that alone, not counting other stuff you pick up elsewhere. And just for frame of reference, like picking up, like you'll get like 50 odd from like a regular mission or whatever. So, I will say also with that update, they included the Blood Angels and White Scars.
Yeah, which look great.
Updates. Yeah. Which meant that a bunch of the successor chapters were added. So finally, Lamenters are in the game.
You get to lament about shit. How do you feel?
I'm very happy. I finally got my Lamenter, and they also because they added the Flesh Eaters, and
they did
because they are very much a Rogue Trader era chapter that sort of. All that's happened to them over the years is that their logo changed to look more like an Orc Druid.
It's a bit Iron God, but yeah.
They actually retain the full helmet stripe of the Rogue Trader era Marines, so it means that they had to put in the full helmet stripe all across the
which you didn't like at all. Oh, you hated that.
So I can finally have a Beaky, because those were put in on the Raven Guard update. With a full red helmet stripe as a Lamenter, and I'm like, I've got my. It's not just Lamenters, it's my Lamenters. It's my Rogue Trader style Lamenters. I'm like,
yeah, no.
Also, White Scars meant the Mantis Warriors were added, so I'm happy because they're another chapter that I've got a bit of a fondness for. But like, you couldn't make previously because you wouldn't have the icon for them, and it wouldn't look right.
Yeah.
So,
but no, I'm enjoying it a lot. It's good. Can't wait to see what they add next. Yay! Also, my other thing is, so my brother got Wibonite tickets for, what is it? Ultimate Strongman, the UK's strongest man. which it's a nightmare for SEO. I don't know how anyone figured it out. But yeah, basically
even on the promotional like t-shirts, it's written different on like each of them. Like I think I described it earlier as it's like like that strata of like PS2 game that has a different name in every territory. Snipers have run away. What's happened?
Okay, so I actually bought a t-shirt because I wanted to be like the strongmen's. Doesn't this look like... It looks like CD UK, if everyone remembers that.
Yes.
But yeah, so I wanted to get this one because that's what all the strongmen were wearing over their little onesies. And I was like, I want to pretend to be a strong man. I could be a strong man.
I was going to try and explain what CD UK is for a second, but I realised that would involve explaining what SMTV Live was, and I'm like,
it was
you either know or you don't at this point.
Yeah, it's fine. It's like don't Google it. You won't find any joy there. But no, and I bought that one because I was like, well, because we got the tickets for free, which were really fancy tickets because my brother works there. Well, he works for the company that sponsors all these things. So he was like, he texted me one day, do you want tickets to this? And I was like, yes. Yeah, I want to see big men. And I don't know, because I was kind of in the muscle zone, in like the muscle haze, so I don't know how normal I was appearing, because I think I just remember sitting there kind of on the edge of my seat going, oh, they're so big! And then mansplaining to you what the events were. I'm like, this is the truck pull. They have to do this. This is the Basque Stone. That weighs 140 kilos, and what they need to. And you're like, yep, sure.
I'm like, yeah, thank you. Like a few weeks ago, I was having to learn how a tabletop game from 1979 worked. I think I can understand a game in which the principle is lifting heavy rock.
It's not just that. It's like the Barb
put it down again.
Yeah, but you have to put it down very specifically on the mat.
You have to put it on the mat, and then it takes 4 people to lift
do the
them.
poof, drop.
No.
No, because they have to pick up the pain egg.
They have to pick up the Basque Stone is like it's a little bit egg shaped, and it's quite smooth, and they have to chalk up their dicks. Obviously, it'd be weird otherwise. So they're like, and the very. Then they get a grip of it, they hold it up, they have to put it on one shoulder, then they have to flex.
Not the dicks. Okay,
not their dicks, no. That's a different event. And then they drop it on the mat. And if it doesn't land on the mat, it doesn't count. If they don't flex, it doesn't count. And there was like a few of them that couldn't make any reps at all because oh my god, no, that's 140. It literally took 4 like, they're not stagehands. Runners? I don't know what you call them.
Fluffers.
Yeah. It took 4 fluffers to carry 1 ball. But no. And it was actually being like, it was like live on Channel 5, which is interesting.
Yeah, sounds about right.
And
they did have the one where they have to pull a truck, like
a 7.5 ton truck, yeah.
Like the front half of an articulated lorry, and like just pull
with
that
a dude
on the
in it to be like,
I
won't let you get crushed, Andrew. Don't worry, I'll put the brake on. It's all good. Yeah, I'm looking at that going. I must have been in just the haze of like, do you have any idea how much strength that takes? That's amazing. Oh my god, these men are so inspiring. Because...
To answer your question from earlier, you were okay. I have been to many football matches with my dad. You were incredibly normal about a sport.
Eat shit, Kev.
Now,
you weird football
to be clear,
weirdo.
My dad is also very normal about sport in the way that we live in Britain, where people are just away about football, and I'm not. So to me, it's all a little strange.
Well, we do have a sports like degenerate with us, DrummerMatt. So he is also. What do you mean? Yeah. I remember literally years ago you being like, "Oh, by the way, if you want anything, Matt, you should ask your dad for something because his team's won." It's like, oh, okay, that's cool.
All I meant by that is that in the boundaries of how people react at sporting events, you acted completely within the normal boundary.
For an Australian,
of,
I think I reacted
behavior.
extremely. I was very over emotional as an Australian. I'm kidding. We're just as bad as the English. That's where we get it from. But no, it was incredible. We could only see one day, but I was just happy. I was just happy to see a bunch of gigantic fucking dudes lifting rocks and pulling trucks and stuff. I'm like, I could watch that shit all day. It's awesome. Like, I want to do that shit all day if I can. It's awesome. And
then a bunch of them got flashbanged because there was, at the end of one of the things, they had like
a Barb end.
A button that you had to press to say you finished the run, and there was pyrotechnics on there that would
literally
go
less
off
than
when
a meter
you pressed
away
it.
from the button.
But because people would press it, they'd run to it and press it, they'd obviously overshoot slightly, so the pyrotechnics go off right in their face.
Yeah,
it was not very well thought out, and a few of them, one of them, it spooked so much he fell over. No,
he was because I think he had a leg injury beforehand because he was limping on the last. Because what the bar bend is basically a series of metal bars on
that you bend.
Okay, do you want me to explain, or do you want to make fun of me for something I genuinely cherish? That's cool.
I'm being silly.
And every bar is progressively harder to bend, obviously. And what you've got to do is you've got to bend it, and because the stand has got a couple of horns on it, and you need to bend it so the two prongs fit inside the horns. And you've got to do that as quick as you can, and then get to the end and boop. And I think it's the guy he was on he just did the last bend, and then he ran over and he hit the button. And got flashbanged, and because he was already unsteady because he'd hurt his ankle or whatever, he just completely ate shit and bailed. And everyone was like, oh shit, is he okay? And yeah, the pyrotechnic sparkler thing was less than a meter away from the button, to the point where there was one of them, one of the athletes, as he went to touch it, he kind of winced and was and kind of hid and then smacked it and kind of flinched. And it's yeah, man, fucking do it. Because another dude before him, I think it was in the same lane as the guy who tripped over, poor thing. He ran, and then as he ran past the buzzer and he smacked it and then got a face full of fucking sparks. And then, the woman being oh, hi, what's going through your mind when you're lifting heavy things? You know, that kind of, the person who interviews you when you've just done something very stressful and exhausting. And she was oh, maybe you should try and not stand close to our insanely fucking unfit for purpose and dangerous pyrotechnics. And he's huh, yeah. And I got pissed off at that, but yeah. They had sparklers, and the pyrotechnics were so goddamn. So we don't need that. We don't need fiery gouts of flame.
The fire was fine because that was safely put away from people.
I guess it was, but it's I was sitting in the fucking at the top of the arena. I was it's making me feel uncomfortably warm from here, and I'm not happy about it. Down with this sort of thing. Could you move them, please?
The one thing about the pyrotechnics was that, so when people say that Britain doesn't have culture,
that they've stolen, that they haven't stolen,
they're wrong, because they needed to, whilst there was ad breaks for the televised thing, they just entertain the crowd. So they just play a song that was a sing-along song. So they played "We Will Rock You," things like that. But they played
"Sweet Caroline."
"Sweet Caroline." So.
Yeah.
And watching several hundred, maybe 1,000 people with their phones, so they're doing the light thing, swing along to it, and then the music cutting out so that you can hear the crowd going bah, bah, bah.
And then the pyrotechnics start, but they don't do it in time. So it's
they tried.
And you're
a gout of flame for every bar.
I'm sure there was. Legally,
which was definitely a thing that I have now witnessed.
Yeah,
so
it was quite fun. But no, I had so much fun. It was really cool. There was this cutest thing. There was a guy. I think there was a couple of dudes called Scott, but there was one of them, Scott from Scotland. He seemed like a cool guy.
That is where the Scots come from.
That is, yeah. Speaking as that, I mean, that's my maiden name. I know better than most. And there was like his 8-year-old niece and his sister in the crowd holding up a sign with "Go Uncle Scott." And like at one point he like ran out because like they when one of them is like defeated or whatever, they leave and then another one will stand there and get interviewed, or they all leave the same way. So he comes out and this little one's like holding up a sign like "Go Uncle Scott." He just like runs over and gives her the hugest hug, and I'm like, oh.
No.
It's like I saw a lot of like kind of muscle bro, like gym bro kind of like camaraderie that I just love so much. Like this is like a big thing. What I love about lifting is just people getting super excited about each other's achievements. Like with the Basque Stone, one of the guys just was literally the timer started and he went, "No, I'm not doing it," and then just turned around and was like, "Yeah!" like fully, like, because I think he had like an injury or something, and he like was like, "I'm not doing this one," but like he just turned fully bodily and was like cheering like his opponent on basically, and like it's just that kind of thing. And like during the truck pull, there were a couple like whoever won or whatever, they'd still go give each other a hug, a fist bump, and just be like, "Fuck yeah, man!" And I'm like, I love that. That's I can never get enough of that. But yeah, no, I had a lot of fun. So and Webb, thank you for letting me drag you to this to watch men pull cars along.
It was an experience I would not normally do, so it was an interesting, different thing to do. So I am always down for a different activity that I have not previously done.
Unless it's me asking you to do anything I'd like to do at the gym.
That's because you do things that would kill me.
If you lifted it like the weights I was lifting, it probably would. Yeah, but like
yes,
okay.
You also lift things in ways that I do, and I go, "Oh, my body is not happy." Oh no, I don't. As I have long stated, you talk about like, oh, your lats and stuff. I definitely don't have those muscles. I was born without them.
You have lats, honey.
No, I don't.
You have
I definitely
lats.
don't.
No,
They're
you
not
do.
there.
You do.
No lats, no traps. I just don't have those on my body.
I can. Okay, fine. Okay. Anyway, DrummerMatt, what have you been up to?
Hey, a few bits and bobs. I've got a few things I want to talk about, actually. Firstly, just a quick one. I haven't talked about books on here. I wanted to mention, give a call out to a couple of books I've been reading.
Call them out. Oh, yeah. Start some book drama. Let's go.
Book drama. No, good ones that I recommend.
Okay.
So, firstly, I've got a book that I read that I think Ruth just found it in the random sci-fi / fantasy section of the library and was like, "This looks interesting." So it was like, okay, skeptical. Actually, really good. So it's called Babel. Okay. And it's by an author who I should have double checked before.
Babel, by an author who wrote it?
By...
Question mark?
Live, hold with me. It's a slightly generic title, so it's a little slightly bit harder. It is by R.F. Oh, I'm going to get in trouble for the pronunciation. Kuang? Kuang?
Kwang?
I don't know. Kwang, potentially. Apologies to anyone who...
Apologies to the author.
Apologies to the author and the planet in general.
Yeah, that's fair.
But yeah, it's called Babel. So, I mean, it's about translation because...
Well, the Tower of Babel is what it biblically apparently made us all start speaking different languages.
Yeah. And the gist of it is... It's set in, like, the late 1800s. It's sort of industrially revolutionary sort of time.
Cowboys?
And, no, in the UK, mostly. And it's... The premise is... Because, all sci-fi / fantasy things have to have just, like, the one... The thing that sets up the whole thing. And the premise on this one is that, for some reason, they've managed to come up with a system where if you get a silver bar... and you inscribe it on both sides of the silver bar with the same word but in two different languages, that can create a magical effect by the fact that a translation's never going to be exact. There's always going to be something slightly lost in translation. So like a phrase in English, it could literally mean something, but it would also like imply something, or it might hint at something, whereas the like French or whatever translation of that, even if it was the correct translation, it wouldn't have exactly all of the same meanings. That's
there's
the sort of
different
gist in it, and-
cultural signifiers on different
exactly.
words.
Yeah. And it only works if someone who is completely fluent in both languages reads out the two words, because then they understand the sort of steps down of the translations and all this sort of stuff. But it sort of goes off into this whole basically like anti-colonial, like the whole British Empire is powered by these silver bars because all of their ships have got silver bars on that make their ships faster and less likely to crash or sink or whatever, and like all this. So it's sort of, it's a whole like goes into like the horrifics of like colonization and empires and all this sort of stuff, and how the British are just generally awful, pretty much.
So like, these bars with the stuff inscribed on them, do they like just generate power by that magic of the
generate.
gaps
it's like magic. It's magic. So it's more of a, even though it's sort of a bit, because it's set like in an industrial revolution, it sort of feels more steampunk adjacent almost, but it is fantasy because it is magic. So it's sort of one of those. I'm sure there's a word for it, but
it sounds. I read a book a little while ago called Deus Ex Mechanic that had way more explicit lesbian sex scenes in it than I was expecting when I picked up that book. I'll tell you that for free.
I'm gonna
but that's
a
kind of
lesbian
like,
recommended it to you, so you should have known.
Yes, I should have known. But it was, that was like steampunk, but in space. So like it was spaceships, and they all run on like a boiler. So it was steampunk, but like via Star Trek. Well, actually, I guess more accurately via Firefly.
Sure.
And that's, so yours is sort of like steampunk, but via, I don't know, language, a linguist.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah,
to be honest, that sounds like something that Tolkien would have written on a long enough time scale. Like, I think where the words are literally magic. Yeah,
I'm going to be honest. That sounds what DrummerMatt's describing sounds too flashy and interesting. Come for me, Tolkien nerds. I am prepared.
Yeah, it's nice. It's sort of, I've already told you because it's sort of, it's not spoilers, but it's like, it's really nice that you don't really know what's going. There's not a bit at the front saying this is how the world works. You kind of learn it as you go through, and comments on the British Empire being dicks about things and basically kidnapping kids from other colonies
to do
because
languages.
They're fluent in whatever language, because they're like, as the like world's getting closer together, the subtle differences between, say, the European languages, so like French and English, languages are getting closer, and there's like, English words coming into French and vice versa, and they're sort of losing some of the magic, so they're trying to expand out to like the Chinese languages and various things to try and keep the empire going, but then they've got all this stuff and they're trying to force. There's like a commentary on like the awful British Opium War thing where they're trying to force. I wasn't expecting such a political commentary from it, but yeah, it's really good and it's enjoyable, and this doesn't sound like a compliment, but a lot of the times you get these sort of sci-fi fantasy series and you pick it up and you read it, that was good, and it's like book 1 of 76 and you're like, yeah. Sometimes it, if it's really, really good, it's like, okay, this is good, but I don't know, sometimes I get a bit like, well, that just feels like it's a bit intimidating. This is just like, it's a thick book, but it is just a story, and then it finishes the story, which sometimes I quite appreciate.
Yeah. Sometimes you just want a singular experience rather than going, if I read this, I feel like I now have to read the other 8 books in this series, and they're all like 700 pages.
That reminds me of one of my favourite TV shows ever. Ignore the second season because it literally was just, the first one was popular, you're contractually obligated to make another one, and it just was shit. The Booth at the End. Fucking incredible TV. Only the first, don't watch the second one. It will, don't do it. The Booth at the End, it's got Xander Berkeley in it, which is weird because he had a go at Oculus on Twitter. That was weird.
It was a misunderstanding, if I remember correctly.
To his credit, I guess he did turn around and go, "Yeah, I was just being a twat, I guess." But yeah, but no, that was just a weird, yeah. But no, it's like the booth at the end is incredibly well shot because it basically just only shows you in the booth that the man is. He never gets a name. He's the man, and you go in.
This is a booth in a restaurant.
It's like an American diner. And you go in.
I think I might have seen like a trailer or something.
I love it. And you go in and I think you have to say like a passphrase or something, and then It's like, oh, I've heard the peach cobbler here is really good, or something like that. And then he's like, sit down. And then, the person will sit down and they'll go, they'll be like, okay, what do you want? And he has like this old, like brown notebook that you don't really see it, but he's always writing in it. And then this person will be like, I want to be a millionaire. And he'll be like, okay. And he kind of goes quiet. And then he'll kind of flip through the book and go, you have to stab a cat. Also, I'm making stuff up so I don't spoil anything. It's like, you have to do this. And they'll be like, what? What? I was like, oh, you have to you have to burn down a school or whatever. And they'll be like, what? No, I'm not doing that. And they're like, okay. And then a person will eventually do it. And then as they're planning, they'll win a lot. They'll win like a mini lottery ticket and get like a couple of $100 from a scratch card. And they'll be like, is that because I've been doing what you said? And he's like, maybe. Could be a coincidence. And it's so fucking good. I love it. And I want to go watch it again. But it's so clever, but so simple. It's fantastic. And it's really cool. Yeah, I cannot recommend that enough. I've just
did it remind you of the thing because it was like a standalone sort of thing?
Because it's like, but it should be a standalone.
Okay,
self-contained.
I know that Booth at the End would have initially been a standalone thing because it works best like that, but no. It's really, really cool. So I think, Matt, I think you'd probably quite like that.
Yeah, I can picture the person sat in at a table, and I've seen
also
that
incredibly like interesting angles, and it's just got such a good atmosphere, and it's directed very well. It's acted very, very well. It's just so good. But yeah, strongly recommend that. But yeah, so I didn't mean to just kind of go, okay, that's enough about DrummerMatt. I'm going to talk about something I like.
That's all right. Another book series I wanted to recommend. Well, recommend. Yeah, this is very enjoyable. It is sort of, one of those just like easy reading books sort of thing. So it's not. I'm not going to claim it's particularly highbrow, but it's a series, and it's called The Rivers of London, and it's basically it's magic police. So caveat, it's police. So
ACAB includes magic police. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
absolutely.
It probably does. But that aside, it's set, and there's basically just the police have a secret magic department, of which it starts off at the book and it's just one person, and he gets an apprentice, and that's who the series is about.
Okay.
It's him sort of learning how to do the magic, and the magic is, it was like categorized, or whatever, not invented by, but it all comes from like Newton, who again, Newton is, that's a whole thing as well. But it's sort of, he categorized all the different ways of putting it all together, and it's all been evolving from them. But I don't know, it's one of those books where you start reading and you're just like, oh, I've read half the book in whatever time. It's just one of those quite easy reading. It's very funny at times. There's lots of there's quite a few sort of subtle Pratchett references and various little bits.
I was thinking it sounds a bit Pratchett.
And I'm just like, oh, and there's loads of little references where it's just like, okay, if you knew the thing, you'd get that little, but I'm not Ready Player One type in your face thing. It's just lots of very little subtle things. It's called Rivers of London because alongside all the magic, there's lots of fae creatures and demimond, they call it, but sort of human adjacent creatures that are a bit magical or whatever. And some of those they're what's the phrase he uses for them? Genus loci, gods and goddesses of places, just because people are focused on a place. So the rivers, or quite a lot of the rivers, have their own god or goddess.
That does sound very Discworld in a complimentary manner.
Yeah, so that's why it's called Rivers of London. So a lot of the different little rivers have their own little god that can have effects on things. And yeah, they're just sort of, mystery type. Each book is there's a crime, and it's just you need to solve it and things get there. But then there's an overarching story that goes along the first few books as well. I don't know. I'm sure it's very. Or a lot of the characters seem quite diverse and quite good at that. I'm not sure. I'm sure it's not perfect for a lot of these things, but It's pretty good, and like I don't know, it's quite nice to be able to read a magic book without having to go to that magic series.
Yeah.
It's just like, oh, okay, you know what? If you want
DrummerMatt
something a different magic series, I'm not even gonna.
DrummerMatt is being based and book pilled
is.
and reading another book, which is what a lot of fucking people should be doing, honestly. But yeah,
it's just another quite easy to read, quite well written. Well, yeah, I mean a lot of the characters are less cultural stereotype, which is quite nice as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm really enjoying it, and it's still going. So that's got the, as much as I said the other one I liked because it was just a story with a nice finish and end. This one seems to be a bit of an ongoing thing, which is quite nice as well.
You contain multitudes. You can in some instances want a small self-contained thing, and in other ones go, I'd like to see more of this world.
Yeah. So yeah, I can recommend if anyone's looking for a book to read, whether it's a sort of more in-depth thing or whether it's quite a light-hearted thing. Books.
I will say, have you read The Martian?
I have.
That was
yes.
I read that in a day.
Yeah, it was good.
It was so funny, and I love the movie as well. I thought it was great. But yeah, that was a very easy read for me.
Yeah. Last thing I want to talk about. So, I have purchased some Gene Stealer Cult.
Yes, you sent me a picture.
I bought the Codex and I bought the Combat Patrol box just as a sort of starter point. What I'm thinking currently is I'm going back to my idea. I think I remembered it midway through recording the last episode about my plan from however many episodes back, years back probably, about wanting to do some sort of not Xeno-bait or not NID-based Gene Stealer Cult Army. And I'm not claiming to be, I'm sure people have done this, I'm not claiming to be, this is my brilliant original idea,
do not steal,
sort of thing.
Yeah.
But I quite like the idea of doing some sort of, and I'm careful to not want to tread it because I know you've got your Grot Rebellion army. And I'm trying to sort of not step on your toes too much by doing like a rebellion, but I'm sort of wanting it as like a workers rebellion-esque, just like a like a mine world, and they've just got fed up with stuff.
It's fine. They can both exist because just like any time that two actual communists meet, they'll call each other revisionists and paedophiles.
And then fight about it. It's fine.
And fight.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's my sort of inkling at the moment. My plan is I bought those. I've been doing some videos trying to learn about painting techniques because I think, as I mentioned last time, like my painting techniques come from the 90s and like because I've never learned anything since then. So I'm just like, okay, so I've got some. So I've been reading into I've been learning new words. I've been learning slap chop is a phrase.
It's just another word for underpainting, which has existed.
That's
for
what
decades.
drag queens do. You're not fucking clever.
I know, but one person said it in a video once, and then it was catchy name. So
it caught on. I can't actually blame them for that. If it
what was the other one? Zenithal highlighting.
Yes,
Zenithal highlighting. Yes.
So
what about OSL?
I've been trying to do so I bought a kind of black undercoat, but then also like a grey undercoat. My plan is just to have a bit of a play with doing that.
Yeah.
And then I just bought some of the Army Painter speed paints. And I'm just gonna, because the Combat Patrol box comes with, and now my issue with Gene Stealer Cults, I can't get my head. There's only about 6 units in the army anyway, if you ignore the 15 characters.
Yeah.
And 3 of the main units, there's I can't even remember. There's hybrid, acolyte hybrids, neophyte hybrids, and then hybrid methtamorphs or something. I was like, why do they all have to be I can't remember. The name of these 3 units is too similar. And they're all roughly the same amount of points. It's very similar. It's not like one is I don't know. I'm struggling.
I love that because you kind of have sat out 40k for a while at this point. You are talking about this, and every person who has played a Space Marine army since 8th edition is going intercessors, inceptors, infiltrators, incisors,
but that's sort of inevitable when you have I don't know, 10, 20, a huge amount of units across a huge amount of different chapters.
Yeah.
If you've got your abominants and abhorrents or whatever they're called, they're mutanty ones, and you've got your bikes and your trucks and things, but then your actual units of dudes or mutant dudes or alien dudes or whatever, there's 3 units and they've all got the same name.
Yeah.
You could have had different names. I don't know. Anyway, whatever. That aside, the gist of it seems to be there's a mostly human one, there's a bit more alien one, and then there's quite an alien one. And then you can get pure strain gene stealers.
Yeah, there's like a generational thing.
That's the gist of it. And these ones, the Combat Patrol box comes with ones, I think they're the sort of middle ground ones, so they're a bit more alien than I'd like. And I was like, well, I can convert some of them, but also these are good models just to have some painting practice on. Like, I can just try a few different styles and try and work out, rather than... Because that was my other issue with the Tau. I painted one model in the paint scheme that I thought I wanted to do. It was like, this will do. I then stuck with it, and I was like, regrets. I love the colour scheme. I love the classic Tau, Tau
Sept,
whatever it's called, Tau Sept Ochre or Ochre.
Ochre.
Yellow.
I got a couple of units, and I just did the red version.
The red ones or the white ones seem to be most common now. I don't think they ever really show, even officially, they don't really show the yellow ones anymore. Yeah. So I think everyone's just got fed up with painting yellow.
And yet, painting white is a much worse colour.
Yeah. Well, can you just spray them white and then be done with it?
Yeah, okay, good luck getting the white to behave.
I mean, yes, technically, but that's true of any colour.
You could do that with yellow, right? Yeah, fair. But yeah, anyway, so my plan is there's like 2 5-man squads, so I was going to build up a 5-man squad of those, just have a play with painting just before I go down a route that I'm going to regret in the future.
Yeah.
I was like, you know what, I want these to look good enough, but my main objective is I don't want to, in a year's time or whatever, be fed up with whatever painting style I've done because it's just taking too long and I'm getting bogged down.
Yeah, you want something that you can do that's that's the right sort of length. Because if you do one and it takes ages, but you're really happy with the result, but it takes ages, it's hard to push through that sometimes.
Yeah, exactly.
One quick question: you say you're doing the army painter.
That's why I did a bit of googling around and things, and I think I just happened to get on one YouTube video that said this is an easy way of painting, and they happened to use the army painter one, so I was like, you know what, let's give them a try. They seem to come with slightly bigger bottles and slightly cheaper, and they've got ball bearings in, so you can mix them easily. And I was like, these are all nice things that I don't have to faff with. Okay. I know, but that's something that I either won't do or
I'm being silly. Don't worry about it.
I've used a bunch of army painter stuff. I've never actually used the speed paints, in all honesty. I've used a lot of the other stuff, and I've generally had pretty good experience with Army Painter, so, good. The only thing I will say, and I don't know if this is still true, but you might want to check, because I know they did get reformulated, but the original formulation of the speed paints, you needed to varnish those. Because because the speed paint would get reactivated if water touched it.
I remember that.
These are speed paint 2.0.
Yeah, so that might not happen with the second.
Have the issue, I don't know. I can get some varnish. But yeah, good to know.
We know the one Wib uses is really, really good. So
okay.
But yeah, just check that before doing anything with it to see if the second iteration of them still has that problem. They might have fixed that. So if so, ignore everything I just said. But
Okay, but yeah, no, good to know. I haven't seen anyone. I've done a bit of digging around on painting techniques and things, and I haven't heard anyone mention that. But that's not to say it's not still a thing. So my question then really is, I've been digging around as to what units I want to use and which ones I can convert and which ones I can proxy. So I've been looking at, there's a few ideas, they've got not abhorrence, there's the muty dudes.
The bigger lads.
Yeah, there's abominant, which is the character that can be a leader of that squad, and then there's it's not abhorrence, it's something like that.
Aberrance.
And I quite so aberrance, there we go, that's the one. Yeah, I've been learning a lot of new words recently, and they're all kind of blending together. So I've been doing a bit of digging in this thing. There's options of using I was looking because it's a bit of a scrappy mining world rebel get what you can thing. There's a lot of digging into kill team models that you can use and Necrounder. There's a huge range of stuff that you can look at.
So I imagine Goliaths would work quite well.
So I was looking at a lot of the Goliaths, which might work well for these. I was thinking I could use some of those for some of the rather than having mostly humans, slightly more nid-humans, mostly nid-humans. I could use humans, beefy humans as a sort of. But my question is, so how much is the sort of, and I know realistically how often am I going to play, and when I do it's going to be against you guys who will be more generous on this than most, but equally I don't want to take the piss. So what is the general community's view in terms of proxying models and like doing things like, should I use like, if I base it off, I don't know, 50% of the original model with different arms or things, or is it like accepted that you can use, I could just use a Necrounder squad as a squad of, you know what I mean? Like what is the general community view on this? Do you know?
Generally speaking, I think as long as there is an effort made to represent the war gear that they have,
as long as the war gear
in a
is
way that communicates,
okay.
And then you communicate with your opponent. You make sure the base sizes are the same.
Yeah,
like you just you do those kind of side of things to make sure that it's fine. As a general rule. As someone that has plays with a lot of like heavily converted miniatures in some armies, like my Grot Rebellion, they're Grots. I have to, anything that would be an orc has to be converted. Like I had like wheeled tiny tank drones to represent looters. Never had anyone say anything other than, "Ooh, that's fun." So
that's
as
kind of what I was hoping, but equally I didn't want to just dive into this without really knowing, and then someone like, "Yeah, that's not cool, dude." So.
Yeah, I think as long as you make sure that they have, so like say in a squad they'll have like one with a different weapon or whatever. As long as you have the weapons represented. They don't have to be 1-to-1 or anything, but just so that it communicates to your opponent what they are and what each individual one is doing. Yeah. As long as you've got that, I think you're fine.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Good to know. I mean, I wasn't gonna like. I'm not going to run like pure strain gene stealers and then just have, I don't know, completely different models and say these are those. But I'm just thinking for the like more, not mutator's not the right word because it's like it's gene stealers, it's the whole thing. But like
the more gene stolen,
like more gene stolen ones with the like claw arms and things. I was like, I can get away with having them with instead of a claw arm, they could have a big. I don't know. I haven't thought about what route I want to go down, but I could have them like having like a mech arm or just a really bit beefy arm, or like go down the route of having like, I don't know, something like Ogrins or something instead of having the. So I haven't quite worked out what angle I'm going to go down, but I'm going to try and match as closely as I can. And also, this is a way off anyway. I'm going to start with like the vehicles and things that I can just do as is.
Yeah, they're easy enough.
Because like I'm aware that I'm also like getting ahead of myself. I was like, I need to make a few basic units first before I go off and try and. So this is a little way off, but I thought I'd just throw it. And the other question I wanted to throw out to either use or to this general community of people listening is if anyone's got any good ideas of what models could be a good non-NID proxy or equivalent of any of the Gene Stealer units, I'd be interested to hear. There's a few threads on Reddit of people doing something sort of similar, or there's quite a few threads of people only looking up like proxy and things, people saying, I want to do a Tau Gene Stealer cult army or an Orc Gene Stealer, which are quite fun, but that's not what I'm going for. But I do quite like those ideas. So there is a few threads around there of people suggesting different things.
Yeah, I mean, I guess like some of them are quite simple. Like the bikes are called Jackals, if I remember correctly.
That's right. Yeah. I think they're pretty much.
They're just humans on those.
I think most of the basic, they do have like a slight ridge on their forehead and a few subtle things. So I'm not sure whether I'm going to like commit to like saying right, nothing at all. Let's do head swaps on everyone, or whether I'm just going to say, you know what, on whatever world this is, they just have slightly lumpy heads. Like it's fine.
They're a Star Trek.
I don't know
Trek
exactly. I don't know how committed to the whether I want to buy replacement heads for every single model, or if I'm just going to get rid of the most extreme needness of it.
Head swaps are very easy to do, and you can easily get like just packs of heads from a million different places. So
I mean, there is this as well. So I think I'm just gonna have to see.
I think there's even some packs that are made for. I don't know if they still do them. They did at one point where they did Necrounder Packs, and they were originally from Forge World, where it was a ton of just like gang
weapons
heads.
And then heads. They've done some of those. Yeah, so there is options for it.
Yeah, so you can just grab a few packs of those, and then any head that has any alien guff on it that you don't want, just don't put it on and use one of those instead. They're going to be scaled more or less the same. So
yeah, so that is my plan. I've got the models downstairs. I was going to start building them tonight until you so rudely reminded me that we were doing this
at like 7 a.m. this morning. How dare you? I gave you plenty of.
Put it in my diary.
It's not my fault you didn't put it in your dang diary. Gosh darn it!
That is true. It was entirely my fault. But yeah, so there we go. I've made progress rather than just talked about it. So this is good.
I look forward to seeing what comes out of it.
We will see. Yeah, I can say I will do some painting, just tests of like different.
What colour scheme you going for?
Well, that's the thing. I don't know, but it's slightly limited. I bought the like. It's not called a starter set, but like the basic set or the core set or whatever of the speed paints. Yeah. And I'm going to see what I can do with those to start with and see if there's any of those that I'm happy with. There's a red and there's a purple and there's a green and there's a blue. There's the basics in there, so I can. I've got a few options.
To be fair, it's given the nature of Gene Stealer cults at the best of times, they don't need to be uniform.
Yeah, but you want some sort of.
But yeah, I just mean that if you wanted to, you could like have a few that just look different and it wouldn't stand out. Yeah, just as long as most of them have the same kind of scheme, just for like clear readability. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah. But I'm gonna have a play, but TBD to be honest. We'll see. Okay. I'm tempted to go on the red route is the obvious route if they are going down the sort of workers' rebellion thing. But I don't know if I am going to go push that angle or whether I want to just have them as just a...
Red is like the best colour besides black, and black and red go together like strawberries and cream. So you should definitely do that.
But yeah, we'll see. I'm going to do... my plan is to do, these first five models in like slightly different ways and colours just to sort of see what works. But yes, that is my 40k update.
Cool.
Wib, what have you been up to?
Tell us.
Work mostly.
Yeah.
So I don't have super in-depth things to talk about. Like just out of shot down here is some stuff that we've been sent that is going to get a video made of it, but you can't see it
because we don't know if it's under embargo or not.
Ooh.
So I can't tell you what it is. But first off, a band very close to mine and I know Matt's heart.
I am aware
Streetlight
of them.
Manifesto released 3 songs from the album that was supposed to be released this month. But then they went, sorry, it's going to be later this year because it's a Streetlight Manifesto album, so it's going to be late.
It got to the point where it was a week before and they hadn't told us how we could buy it. And there's like, considering the amount of people that would just like throw money at this thing, like I would have just immediately bought it on vinyl and got it shipped from the States. I was like, why haven't you told me how I could throw money at you? Like when we saw them like a month ago and they just didn't mention the new album or play anything from it. And I was like, you guys are bad at we just put it down to their big, like, typically bad at marketing, which they are. So
I mean,
they're just that kind of band.
Speaking as someone who isn't like a fan of Streetlight Manifesto, Jesus fucking Christ, did they hate money and attention and any kind of organization whatsoever? And this is coming from someone who's in our band.
Yeah.
So
they're a very idiosyncratic band, shall we say? For people that aren't aware, they're broadly speaking a ska band, but not really. They're a band with a lot of horns in it. Let's just say that.
Yeah. They're a horn band.
Yeah.
Honky tonk, I say.
But yeah, they are my favourite band in the world. And their new album was supposed to be coming out this month. Then they were like, "Oh, sorry, it's going to take longer, so it's coming out later this year." But to make up for the fact that they told everyone it's going to come out, they released 3 songs onto YouTube, which was enormous, everything to everyone, and Imagine This. And I've basically been listening to those 3 songs on repeat since they came out like a week ago.
Good.
Which was really nice because the previous album, The Hands That Thieve, though I like it, it didn't really get me to like listen to it on repeat the way every other release by Streetlight has. Like, it's like, I like it, and when I'm like listening to songs, those will be in the rotation, but and so I was a little bit like, concerned's the wrong word, but I was like, when the new one comes out, I was like, I'll probably like it, but I was like, maybe it's going to be like that one. Maybe the fact that I like their first handful of albums, like, as much as I did, is just like, how it is sometimes. And then the band kind of grows and changes a bit, and you don't necessarily grow with them in that same way. You go off in different directions. Yeah. And so you don't like the later stuff as much, for no fault of anyone. But no, I fucking love these three, and they hit in the way that the old stuff did to me. So I'm like,
okay. I saw that they were out, and then I was like busy or out and about at the time when I saw the Instagram post, whatever you call it, thingy. I was like, oh, great, excellent! I'll go as soon as I get home, and then just forgot.
Yeah,
they're also now. So.
They're also fast, quote unquote, ska punk songs that are all a minimum of 6 minutes long because
because they hate their horn players and their bassists.
Streetlight, they've got so many different horn players now to play their individual solos. The songs are just really long now. Okay. I think one of them's like over 7 minutes long, which is too long for that kind of song, but also not long enough because I have listened to the same song on repeat. So it's obviously not too long. But yeah, so that has been a nice little boost. Oh, a couple of video gamey things as well. So I mentioned Xenoclash, Xenoclash 2 in the previous episode. I have started playing the third game in the series, Clash Artifacts of Chaos, which is set in the same universe but not directly related to the Xenoclash games.
Okay.
So you're in the land of Xenozoic. When it occurs timeline-wise to the events of the first two games, couldn't tell you. Maybe it'll tell you later. Maybe it'll never tell you. It's that kind of series. But it's an interesting game because it went from a first-person brawler, which obviously has a lot of issues because first-person brawling is a sort of temperamental genre, hard to get right, and sometimes Xenoclash shined in that, and sometimes you went, I understand why there aren't more first-person brawler games. But this one, they went, fuck it, we're doing third-person. So you play as a character called Pseudo, who I can best describe as a giant yellow testicle of a man who is also weirdly thin and wiry.
So DrummerMatt.
The only character I can think of in fiction that is
in the way that I, as a person who loves testicles, and on an aesthetic level,
that cannot be.
Are you sure? Are you sure this is what you want to go with?
This is where we're going. Yeah, okay.
The aesthetic.
You realise you said something really insulting and are like.
Just thin pastry covering golf balls is something that I've always very much enjoyed.
Anyway,
I'm sorry, Matt. You're actually quite handsome, and I'm sorry for being mean. I didn't mean to be mean.
The only character I can think of that looks like this is in the Immortal Hulk character run. There is a bit where the Hulk is like emaciated, but he's still got like his giant frame, so he's just really long and spindly. Okay. Immortal Hulk is full of body horror, in case you were wondering.
And it's based as hell, apparently.
It's anti-capitalist Hulk. It's a very interesting comic run. But yeah, so he's this kind of long, spindly thing, but his head has got like all these wispy kind of pubic hairs, and he's like just a kind of weird bean head, so it's hard not to read him as like a bit testicular. Which is why I found out that you're not allowed to use the word scrotum as a Twitch in a Twitch stream, because I did whilst describing the game, and it was like, you can't use that stream name. And I was like, oh, okay.
I can't remember what it was, but I was streaming with Longfang, and we were like doing like it was like a Sniper Elite game, which is just literally just all based during World War II, and you're always killing Nazis, and it was something like Sniper and Longfang murder Nazis because they deserve to die, or something like that. It's like, you can't say that. Murder is a prohibited word. I'm like, but Nazi is fine? Cool, love that for you.
But anyway, yeah. So the game is a third-person brawler. It's got a bit of Dark Souls about it, as in when you die, you go back to your last campsite as in the night as like a wooden version of yourself, and then you have to go through to where you died to like resurrect your body, but the enemies that are present at night are different. Okay. It's an interesting system.
I hate the look of Pseudo. He is awful.
Oh, he's very strange.
Why? What's this little coal sprite dude though on his shoulder? He's creepy.
Oh yeah, so you have a little character with you who you pick up early on in the game, who's just a little fuzzball. He kind of looks like Nibble from the Gobbledygook comic strip.
Oh.
He's just a black fuzzy mass with two big like yellow eyes, and he's just a cute little guy. He's just adorable.
I can't believe he's probably the antagonist. I don't know.
One of the options is that you can dress him up, which is delightful. You can get like he's called Boy. My boy has a little red mohawk because I was allowed to give him a little red mohawk, I did.
I love that. That's very good.
He's quite adorable, but I think the most interesting thing about the game is, aside from it's got kind of like Dark Souls 1-y sort of like density of. Are you okay?
just DrummerMatt just lost the will to live. He was just like. And he went on for like minutes, and I was like, "Fucking how long?" He's just, you were probably googling something, but you were just like,
I'm trying to look up the same picture that you looked up.
I can just send it to you. It's fine. If it stops you having like fucking existential horror going, I'm so sorry.
Anyway, it has a sort of Dark Souls-y one, sort of like. The map is very intertwined and like folds back on itself, and it's very kind of compact. Almost to a fault, I actually think it's kind of can be quite difficult to navigate and process what's happening. Which is kind of the opposite of Dark Souls, which is obviously a very well-designed area. Dark Souls 1, of this very interlocked thing, whereas I think the... you've seen the picture now.
I've seen the picture.
Yes.
Yeah, maybe.
How do you feel? Sexy?
I mean,
horrendous? What's your feeling?
Neither. When was this game made?
A few years ago.
Yeah.
It looks very...
It's an indie game, don't be mean.
It somehow reminded me of Medieval.
You mean with Daniel Fortis?
It's very stylized.
And I have no idea why, but that's the game that popped into my head when I saw the picture.
Okay. I can say that.
Not
yeah,
sure
as you see,
relevant.
It's super high contrast, like the way it's done. Actually, has a really cool thing where like the shading is done and it's made to look like pencil shading, but it's animated, so it like squiggles around and stuff. It's a very interesting looking game.
We need more games just trying to be weird, honestly.
But the most interesting thing about it is that before most fights. You can just challenge people to a game of dice, and you've got like it's like the game that you can play, and like you've got like these bandoliers with the tools that you have for it, and you like walk up, you're like, oh, I want to play the game. I can't remember the proper name for it, but I can't remember how they refer to it. And you then have, if someone calls it, you have to fight them, and you then play this like dice-based game. Where you roll some dice and then you use different abilities on them to either raise or lower the values on them, and whoever has the highest value at the end, wins. And they get to they give a like debuff to their opponent in the upcoming fight, and that's just part of the culture of this world. That they have to do these games to fight, and if you refuse, then you automatically lose, and you have to take on the negative effect. Like the negative effects could be you are attacked by bees for the whole round,
for the whole game.
You have to wear a fish head.
Okay,
or you have to like you can only move in so far a place, or you can like turn them into Pokemon effectively, and when you beat them, if you beat them with this thing enabled, then they become like a summonable thing for a fight in the future, It's very interesting. It's sort of like if in Final Fantasy VIII, rather than every character, like a lot of characters in the game, merely playing triple triad on the side. No, before you fight a boss fight, they're like, no, I'm going to play triple triad against you. We're playing fucking cards, man. And this is going to decide how easy the fight is for you.
It sounds like... You know how you get into an argument as a child with someone in the schoolyard?
I did do that a few times, yes.
Yeah, just a few? I got into a lot of fights. Surprising everyone, I'm sure. Be nice to me. It's illegal not to be. It just sounds like
I got into one after-school fight, and then we ended up like
Kissing.
picking it up, and then realizing that wait, hang on, no Pokemon's on. We need to go home so we can watch Pokemon.
What, together? Was it your brother?
No. We both had to separately go to homes, but we couldn't carry on the fight because it was like whatever time it was that Pokemon was on.
I got in one fight so bad that like my right hip is still not okay. I got like thrown to a concrete floor and I landed on my hip funny, and it has never been okay since. That just sounds like you challenge someone to a fight and they're like, no, we've gotta like, you gotta trade Pokemon with me first. And you're like, no, Steven, I want to hit you. And it's like, yeah, but I have a Weedle. And I'll trade
I feel it was like, no, we shall not fight. We shall settle our differences like kings.
As men. Pokemon cards.
Throw down your Pokemon card deck. Like...
I never knew how to play Pokemon. I was just like, I like this one because it's Vaporeon, and I like the Vaporeon, and I like the evolutions.
I was driven round the bend by the fact that I was the only person that knew how to play it. And people were like, oh, you want to play Pokemon cards? I'm like, yes, I really would. And then they go, oh, we're not going to use energy cards though. And I go, well, then you're not playing Pokemon cards. The game is balanced for energy cards. If you don't use energy cards, Charizard just wins.
Well, you always like 40 years old.
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, they also wouldn't use evolutions, so you'd just be, if you had a Charizard in your deck and you got that, well, then that just won.
I win.
And I was like, and I would say that, I'd say like, but it doesn't, the game is made, I didn't understand, I didn't have like the vocabulary to explain
You couldn't
like
call
game
them the
design
C
at that
word,
point.
but you wanted to. Yeah.
I was like, no, it doesn't work. If you don't have energy cards or you don't have evolutions, and every part of balance of the game does not function. So it isn't a fun game then. It is fun if you play it properly. And that's why I didn't have many friends at school.
I didn't, because I was undiagnosed autism and ADHD, but that's a different story.
Yeah.
And I got into fights.
Tangent off that one, I was looking at some Pokemon cards the other day, and modern Pokemon cards make no sense.
And
to
you
my
get the
brain.
huge ones that are like A5.
There's just so much going on. I'd love to get back into it, but my brain just cannot compute what is going on with these things anymore. Like, there's just a lot. And like the basic ones had like hundreds and hundreds of HP, and I was like, I don't even what?
Yeah, the power creep. Apparently, the power scaling has been really bad. I watch is it Sad Boys, like Jordan and Jarvis? I think it's Jarvis. Like, I think he plays Magic, so don't hold that against him. He's a lovely guy. But yeah, it's like he occasionally collects Pokemon, and he's like he'll bemoan the power creep and how it's just like, oh yeah, now it's like basically it's kind of diet magic where you just can't use any of the original cards that you would have collected as a little baby child or anything like that, because it's like Charizard used to be the strongest in the game when it was like when we just had 156 or fucking 151, however many. And now it's just like, oh yeah, no, like fucking this, like fucking Simsamon or whatever, which is definitely a Pokemon naming convention, can do the yell at cloud thing, which is actually it flip a coin and it does 100 damage every heads you get, and you're like, what? I remember when fucking there were like Pokemon like Weedle where it's like it would just sit there and just go, I'm shit, I'm lowering your defense, and that was it. That was the only attack it had, and it had like 40 HP. But now it's like the basic, most boringest attack does like 60 or whatever. Don't come for me, Pokemon players. I don't care what you have to say. You're nerds.
Well, I am so confident in that my old Pokemon cards will never be useful again, which is why behind me you can see, or if you're watching on video at least, there's a set of the original 3 starters and their evolutionary lines framed, because I know I won't ever need to get them out again.
I only have this Pokemon trading card tin that I keep my ear piercing stuff in. Like my
You have a lot of Pokemon cards.
They're all the way over there, and I don't feel like going, hi everyone, I have a box full of Pokemon cards, and this is the shiny one, and this is Vaporeon, because I like the evolutions.
You absolutely could do that, but it is probably not the correct avenue to do so within a podcast that is ostensibly still supposed to be mostly an audio experience.
Write in, tell us what you think, leave a comment, like, comment, subscribe, email us at TheDrummerMatt@gmail.com, and tell everyone that you want to see my Pokemon cards, and this probably...
You can just make a video. You can make a regular video where you show people your Pokemon cards. That's fine. No one can stop you doing that.
They can, and they will, and they have, and they're going to do it again.
If people could stop us making videos, they would have stopped a lot of our videos.
Yeah, you know what? True. Yeah, if they could have, they would have by now. If they could find us.
Anyway,
Pokemon.
Yeah. Clash, Artifacts of Chaos. Interesting game. It's quite a bit longer than the other Clash games, from my understanding, so it's probably going to be a while before I'm able to beat it, because I'm doing it on stream, and just it's whenever I have a stream where it's just me on my own, I'll do it. So it's like sort of random when I get a chance to do more.
Well,
but yeah, so I'll report back if anything interesting happens with it. But
if it gets a bit more scrotal.
Yes, if it becomes any more scrotal, which admittedly it's fairly scrotal right now.
And how much
more scrotal than most video games ever.
How much more scrotal could this be? And the answer is none more scrotal.
I'd say the answer is some more scrotal.
Some more scrotal. That's wow.
I'm sitting there going like, should we call it some more scrotal? And then I'm like, no. I've looked at the last few episodes. And I'm like, we should probably have one title that's not. Just see how we feel.
Okay, but we need a standout kind of thing to say. I know. Space Marine 3 announced during a porn live stream? There we go.
You still had to bring the porn into it. It's still a sexual thing.
Yeah, but sex sells and cum is funny.
Yes.
I think there's a button
there's
there.
no more to that sentence.
Yeah, there we go.
Yes.
Okay. I can't wait for the Spotify thing to be like Space Marine 3 announced, and then like fucking like some journalist will be like, who gets all their stories from Twitter, will be like, I saw this and Space Marine 3 has been announced, but during a pornography.
Space Marine 3 has legitimately been announced.
Okay, but like Space Marine 3 announced, Space Marine 4 announced, fucking bang, there we go. Who knew? You play as a gene stealer. But it's genes, like with the J.
Yeah. It's just his name, Gene Stealer.
Yeah. It's Jean.
Anyway, the other game I want to talk about...
Stillier.
Jean Stillier. You know what? That can be the title if you can figure out how to fucking spell that.
DrummerMatt lived in Bordeaux for like 47 years. I'm sure he could figure it out. You can't, can you? That's okay. No judgment. It's fine.
Well, no, because you don't know how to spell it in French because it's not French.
Yes, it is. Jean Stillier.
That is the main issue.
No, it's French. French people, please respond. Tell us that I'm correct. Just do that anyway. Every podcast, someone should be emailing in going, "Wow, Snipe is correct about everything. That's so cool."
Anyway, the other game.
Yes.
Is I've been playing a little bit of Worshippers of Cthulhu.
What's that about?
Which is a city builder, but Lovecraftian. Okay. So you effectively are the leader of a Cthulhu cult, and you must build a little like village, make it self-sustaining, worship eldritch horrors, and conquer those around you.
Do you get dental?
Definitely not.
Okay,
if you've seen
so it's
any
just capitalism,
character, yeah. So the interesting thing about it is, so it's definitely one of those games that I found out to my peril. It's definitely a game to not play the first half an hour of, and then leave it for a week to play another 45 minutes of, because you will forget a lot of what it's trying to tell you. One of those. It's a city builder, it's fairly self-explanatory, but just some of the intricacies about how certain things interact is a little bit like, oh man, I shouldn't have taken a break in the middle of this. But there's a couple of notable things, like, so obviously you do sacrifices, because it's Cthulhu cults. So, like, you summon a weird fish monster that you use to attack your enemies with, but they only last for so long, they're, like, perpetually dying, so you have to, like, do things quickly. That. So you can't just, like, generate a huge army of them, because they're also really expensive, and then just have them to, like, defend you. No, you have to, like, defenses are kind of a separate thing, because these things are pure offense, because they will not survive, like, for very long, in like, a general sense. And it has a bit of the, did either of you play Frostpunk?
I saw you play it.
Yeah.
I didn't get massively deep into it, but...
So you know how you have like the moral choices things? It sort of has those. So like periodically it'll be like, oh, you found a guy in a basement who is full of fish bits. He's just turning into a weird fish creature.
Boyfriend.
Do you A, put him out of his misery, or B, send him to the like storehouse because you're gonna eat that fucker?
I would put him
it's
out
a
of his
Cthulhu
fishery.
game.
Normal choices.
Yeah, these are the type of choices you have.
Thank you, Matt. I'm glad somebody listened to my amazing joke.
But yeah, so you have those as well. But the interesting thing comes from like you like carve these statues and hurl them into a big fucking hole or whatever. Well, actually, no. There's a big hole and giant tentacles come out of it to grab the thing that you've made. I was not expecting to see like village-sized tentacles in the early part of the game. I assumed that would be later on, but
you have to earn that.
and there's a weird like herald of Cthulhu who looks like Mothman, which is quite fun.
Is that super jacked Mothman-looking dude?
Yeah, it was one you saw when you came in.
Fucking what gym does he go to? Damn.
Real, I guess.
You should have said Golds, but okay.
I didn't know. I don't know enough about gyms to make a pun based on the dread city that Cthulhu lies sleeping in.
Well, see, that's a weakness of your character. I'm gonna be honest.
Yeah. But yeah, the part that is the most kind of like, ooh, that's a lot, is so you can take your cultists. And they each have they'll have like a specialization of what they're best at for a job. So some of them will be like, I'm really good at raising cattle. I'm really good at harvesting clams, whatever. Which does mean I've got a wonderful screenshot of like, you need to raise your villagers' clam need. I'm like, well, okay.
You need to get back onto Barry the Clam Man.
Yeah.
Barry, please. My family, they crave clams. Please.
And because they have like specialization, some of them are like generalists, and it obviously makes them better at doing things, so they'll be more efficient when you put them to certain jobs. But you can specify that they become a certain like specialization. And how you do that, and I'm doing really well explaining this, where I'm watching both of you not hold it together at all.
Clam need!
Look, sometimes your villagers just require a lot of clams, and they will not worship this eldritch entity properly until you have fulfilled their clam desires.
Give a man a clam, normal you fulfill his clam desire.
Exactly.
Teach a man to clam, and you've fulfilled his clam need.
You could summon an eldritch horror.
With his clam-based lust.
Exactly.
Please tell me there's a debuff called clam greed.
Not that I've experienced. I'm not that far through the game.
Oh, I gotta get back into modding.
But yeah, the part that is kind of like it kind of you go a bit ooh is when you send someone into a specific specialization. The way you do that is you put a mark on them, which you do with a knife. And you have to do it. It will, on screen, it'll just be a back of a person, and then you just have a knife, and you trace out the symbol you want to draw on them.
Just a dick.
And then a knife will go around and cut them as you hear them, like, screaming.
Well...
and that scarification now sets them on the path. Now, the interesting thing is, I think there's two versions of it, and I think one of them you can do more frequently, but you have to memorize what the symbols are. The other version, you get to just make up a symbol, and it just goes, okay, that's the symbol for this now. Which I tested by drawing what I can best describe as Shaun the Sheep on the back of someone to see if I could do that to make them specialized at like raising sheep.
Please.
I'm aware I did scarification on someone and was just like, I wonder if I can draw a sheep, because you have to do it all in one line as well, so you can't like do separate lines. So I'm like, can I draw a sheep like that, a recognizable sheep? And the answer is yes, but I did feel a bit funny about it.
Well, I mean, to be fair, you are already showing more moral fiber than anyone who buys a tattoo gun off Amazon and gives their friends free tattoos. You are actually scarificating people in a way more morally correct manner.
I mean, they didn't say anything I was doing was okay.
They also didn't say that it wasn't.
There's a power dynamics going on with a Cthulhu cult leader that I don't really want to get too deep into, because I feel this is a game like this is one where you play it and you go, oh, these are weird, interesting mechanics, or it's like playing with a theme in an interesting way, but you don't think too much about it because you start to feel bad about what you're doing. It's like the whole playing Frostpunk is difficult because at certain points you are like, wow, all my decisions are weird and authoritarian, and I feel bad about all of these. But anyway, it's an interesting game. I will play some more of it. It was actually a present from our friend Seamus, and so thank you for that. He actually sent it to me like, I think it might have been around Christmas, and Steam just didn't fucking tell me.
Yes, Steam for you. Yeah.
And a little bit ago, it was like, did you ever get that? And I was like, what? And then I checked in my like history. I was like, oh shit, yeah, it's still there. Thank you. But yeah, so interesting game. I will play more of it and see how it is. The only problem I've got with it is that it does have a bit of a problem where on certain machines it stutters a fair bit with VSync on. But my graphics card's good enough that I get major screen tearing because it's generating too many frames. Yeah. So I kind of want screen tearing on. So it's like, do you want screen tearing or do you want stutters? On average, because the kind of game, I'll settle for the screen tearing, but not ideal. But hey, such is life. But yes, that is all I have to say. So, do we have any questions?
Yes.
And where should we send our questions to? It's TheDrummerMatt@gmail.com. Questions, threats.
Yes.
I don't know, dirty limericks. Send them on over.
I'll take a dirty limerick. Yeah.
There once was a man from Nantucket. And let's just say the stories about him were greatly exaggerated. Thank you, The Simpsons, the joke I stole that from. Yeah.
Okay, I have some questions up.
Okay.
I'm doing it on the fly because I did not do my homework. So
look, we've got the video like part of the podcast now. That's like represents an iota of effort, and so that had to come from somewhere.
Yeah.
The amount of effort we put into this podcast is a zero-sum game. Like,
here we go. There's the effort.
So this question is from Lux.
Hola.
Question. I couldn't think of anything creative, so I'll just ask you guys something that's been on my mind a lot recently. I know Wib occasionally watches Doctor Who, but I'm not aware of your engagement with Doctor Who, Matt and Snipe. So this is actually a somewhat multi-layered question. One, do you like the show? I'll do them in stages. We can answer each one, and yeah.
Okay.
Do we like Doctor Who?
I like Doctor Who just fine. I haven't watched much of. I've watched like all of New Who up to the start of the Jodie Whittaker run, and that was just because when I decided to binge it, that was airing at the time, so I couldn't watch it. And I do enjoy old Doctor Who as well, but obviously that's a bit more of a pain to get a hold of for some of them, and but I like Doctor Who.
It's a real pain to get a hold of some of them.
Yeah, because they were like they were set on fire. But yeah, no, I like Doctor Who. I haven't watched any of the apart from the Christmas special that they did. I haven't watched any of the latest season, which I've heard is mostly pretty good, but very mixed things about the ending. So, but I have not seen that.
Doctor Who is definitely a show that exists, and a lot of people I care about really like it. So I'm glad. Drummer.
I never watched any of the old ones. I started at Matt Smith, and I've watched up until the latest series, but I haven't watched any of the latest series. I think I've watched the first few episodes of whatever Doctor we're on to now. I forget the number.
Is it 14?
Anyway.
I don't know.
I've lost track.
But I'm not completely up to date, but I'm enjoying it. But yeah, can't say I'm a huge mega fan. Like, I don't know a lot of the lore or whatever. I just enjoy watching it for what it is. Do you have a favourite Doctor or era? There we go. Yeah, follow on. Matt Smith was my first, so you have a soft spot for your first, eh? Usually, that's how these things work.
I quite like if like old Doctor Who. I do have a soft spot for the first Doctor, William Hartnell, because he's a grumpy old bastard, which may explain why I also really like Peter Capaldi, even though most of his run was quite bad because Stephen Moffat does not know how to run a show.
I like the leather jacket Doctor who shouted at a Dalek that one time. That was really
Christopher
cool.
Eccleston.
Yeah, that was really intense. I like that. That was cool.
Yeah, he was good.
Yeah,
he was good. Good actor.
I also like the
also
guy
he says very funny things about royalty whenever it comes up on
he seems like
Instagram.
a weirdo, but I do like the parasite in chief with her idiot hat, and I'm like, yes, slay Doctor.
I actually quite like a lot of them. I really like Patrick Troughton, which is he's the second Doctor, which is a real pity because large chunks of his run are gone.
Is he the one who had a boyfriend? His companion was like his IRL best buddy.
He had a Scottish soldier called Jamie, and the two actors played up, like getting as close to the line as treating them like they're a couple as they could get away with on TV at the time.
Queer representation. That's what we need.
Is my understanding. But yeah, I really like Patrick Troughton. I do quite like Matt Smith because he's basically a hyperactive Patrick Troughton, like in the way his interpretation of the Doctor is. But again, unfortunately, his entire run is Stephen Moffat, and they're fine if you watch them week to week. But if you watch them like in a bulk, like if you binge watch them, you see the holes in the way that he constructs a show so badly. Every other week is the biggest thing, and the mystery that is the thing tying it together is never answered in a way that's satisfying, and you realise how much you're being led on. It's very frustrating to watch. But other people have made entire video essays talking about why he is frustrating as a showrunner.
Oh, yeah.
And of course, soft spot for Tom Baker as well, because it's fucking Tom Baker.
He looked like every woman from the 80s that my mother was related to. Complimentary as much as it can be, because I hate my mother. I like it how, like, I didn't understand that me cock, or my cock, was like a term of endearment, and I saw him on like, it was like a British comedy panel show, which there are multitudes, and he just kind of was like kept calling everyone me cock, and I was like, is he hitting on these people? Ooh. Oh, he's a slut. I love him. What the hell? Slutty grandpa, you go girl. Turns out no, it's just like a term of endearment, and I was like, ugh, yes, fine. I mean,
third part of the question was, I mean, we've answered it already, to be honest. Okay. Have you been watching the recent episodes, and if so, did you enjoy them?
No, I haven't.
I watched the Christmas special with the big Goblin King.
That
had the Goblin musical number, because I had to watch that. It had a Goblin musical number.
I mean, yeah, it was pretty great.
Yeah, that was pretty fun. And I did enjoy the return of David Tennant as the Doctor briefly. In those Christmas special, or that special run, that was quite fun, which sort of helped too, because I have sort of a bad taste in my mouth from the David Tennant run, because the last part of his run I really don't like, and so that's kind of what sticks in my brain the most, because that's like the last time that, I mean, he had come back for I think a 2-parter with Matt Smith later, but that's kind of what I remember. So having this little run, and it had Donna come back, and Donna's a great companion. So I have Doctor Who opinions, apparently. So
Wib and his Doctor Who opinions.
Shocking no one.
Righto, next up. No name at the end, so I'm assuming... Oh, there we go, in the top. Lord Caketron.
Hello.
Yes.
Questions, one for each of us.
Oh.
Snipe.
Yes.
Now that the Saturnine Dreadnought is being released,
yes,
how do you rank the various old crippled people in boxes?
Great way to describe dreadnoughts. Feels a bit insensitive, but very creative, I will say. I can't just re-rank them. I mean, I still say it's probably because it's a late bloomer. It's still quite low, but it looks better than the other kind of dudes of that shape. So it's all right.
Fair enough.
Yeah, it's fine.
Favorite and least favorite dreadnought.
Favorite, like specific models, because I'd say the old Forge World Space Wolf Venerable is absolutely
Mark IV Forge World. Yeah,
beautiful, absolutely gorgeous. My least favorite is, I know they don't count as dreadnoughts. What are those ones where they look like walkers, and they're like a Redemptor where some dude is just wearing them?
Oh, do you mean the, is it Invicta Warsuit?
It's something like that, yeah. I know, they're not dreadnoughts, but fuck them, they suck.
I actually really like that.
Okay.
I think that's cool.
Fair enough.
I'll say my
Yeah.
like the really, really fucking weird, like, Rogue Treader Dreads are also pretty funny. Not
beautiful.
bad. I'm saying they're probably like close to the top, just because they're such goobers.
Good.
But yeah,
saving your marriage with that hasty amendment at the end.
Nice. Wib, is there any old rules or concepts you wish would return to the 40k tabletop?
Shock attack gun. Being good, being interesting. Just grab the 5th edition rules, amend the parts that don't work because of modern rules, because it uses templates and things, and just use that. Don't have the boring one it currently has. Fucking hate the current one.
I mean, that seems to be quite universally true amongst like, there's so many different rules now.
Also, combi weapons, make them properly combi weapons again.
Yeah, a lot of them are just, it's a flamer. No, I don't use a template though. It just has slightly more attacks. Or it's a I don't know.
It's it's oversimplified, and I appreciate there is always streamlining that does need to happen. But when it's just like, this thing was like wacky. Yes, it was a bit too wacky. But they found like a perfect kind of like risk-reward kind of silly thing, and then they were like, no, that's too fun and cool and interesting. Let's just not do that. Which I'm sure that's the way the conversation in the boardroom went. But yeah.
But yeah, no, the shock attack guns, it's not necessarily like the only thing I'd change, but I think it is a good example.
It's emblematic.
It's emblematic of the things that bother me about the modern game and the things that I like about older iterations of the game.
Yeah.
As a single rule.
Nice.
What's the one for you?
Question from me: what is your favourite Warhammer mini? Be it 40k, 30k, AOS, or some such. It is in the it's in the AOS now, but it's in the some such. My favourite model, because I have fond memories of it as a kid, because it was ridiculous, is the steam tank, but specifically the metal version of said steam tank.
Yes.
Because when I got this thing, and I can't remember, I obtained it off someone. I can't remember how I managed to get it. There wasn't many of them around, and it was just all metal all the time. And I don't even know if it comes under the category of mini, because this thing weighed more than me. Like, it was ludicrous thing to have as a kid, and I loved it.
I do actually have one of those old metal steam tanks. Someone sent it in because they had a version and it came with 2 of the same side panels, so it can't actually be built. But they were like, you might be able to use it for like your grots or whatever. And I'm like, I keep meaning to like troll eBay to see if I can find that panel so I can actually make it into a proper steam tank.
Plasticard.
Yeah, but it's a very complex. It's a very complex piece.
I believe in you.
It's a more complex piece than I know how to do something with. Now, granted, if I could find someone who had the spare part but didn't want to give it up, I could do like a mold of it using blue stuff. I could do that, but I just haven't got around to that. So I'd never got.
But it was
one day.
Back in day, maybe.
Back in day.
Right. Lastly, from Thef. Question for my favourite fortnightly descent into madness. Good. James Workshop.
James Workshop.
James Workshop has commissioned you to produce a musical of any event/character's life from the world of Warhammer. Whomst do you immortalise your music? And importantly, what musical style do you choose?
Oh my god. Okay, Wib, honey.
Gaskell K-pop.
Yes. Okay. Would you like to give us a sample?
No.
Oh. Great. I'm trying to think. Oh, there's so many. The story of Angron and the style of Greece. It could jazz it up a little bit. I hate
You could
Greece.
definitely do like the Primarchs in general as like a high school musical, one could say.
No, because they steal all of their fucking songs.
I thought it was Glee that did that.
Oh, I don't care. They're the same fucking thing in my brain.
They
I'm
are
old.
a separate property.
Okay. No, it's going to be like the one that fucking Danny Gonzalez keeps doing, like the fucking zombies and witch high school or whatever it is, where the zombies are just people with green hair.
Oh, the things that our niece and nephew kept watching.
Yeah, that shit. No, I remember talking to them and they were like, oh, you don't know about this? I was like, yeah, I know that he does this and she's a secret werewolf cream, but she's not actually a werewolf. And like, our niece was like, how do you know that? And I'm like, because I
told me.
I saw an adult on YouTube tell me about that. It's like, it's still better than getting ChatGPT to fucking summarize that shit for you. But yeah, I do like the idea of like a high school clique drama, like musical, but it's the Primarchs. That would be really cool.
Yeah.
DrummerMatt.
My first thought is adjacent to what you said, but it's so it involves the Primarchs, but it's a sort of, West Side Story-esque.
Oh, when they're all like clicking,
Horus,
like the dames.
Yeah,
and...
Horus Heresy, but we've got everyone just doing the thing at each other. And
So would these be like? I'm kind of seeing that like
one could be a spin-off from the other.
Yeah, your idea, Matt's like a kind of like traditional musical where the songs are like related to the they are actually like the story is conveyed through the song, whereas Snipe, I'm kind of seeing yours a bit more like a jukebox musical thing where it takes like licensed music and sort of recontextualizes it to tell the story. Two kind of different ways of doing a very similar idea.
You could have like Lehman Russ singing like, like Leader of the Pack or whatever. Or like, I think that would be quite a fun way to kind of do it. And I just want, I need to sneak in because it's Back to the Future ruins me because I always think of Tom Wilson's ass when I think of Mr. Sandman. And I'm like, I need that song in there.
Can you maybe give me a little context there?
Okay, so Tom Wilson played Biff in Back to the Future in the 1985
I know.
Robert Zemeckis.
I'm very aware of who Tom Wilson is, thanks to being married to you.
Being married to Tom Wilson. How long have you known? But no, because that song plays up in, I think it's the second one where Marty goes back. Oh no, was it the first one? I can't remember. Basically, when you first see Biff leaving his horribly abusive grandma's house. Like it kind of like it. He's walking into town to pick up his car that's been completely ruined by Marty, like previous actions. I think it might be Back to the Future too. And it's got Mr. Sandman playing, and he's so long. He's like 6'3", and I'm like, that man is long. Love that man. Long. And it just makes me think of his long legs, and I'm just like, wow, nice.
I assume his ass is quite prominent in this shot then.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, I was looking. I think everyone else was. Respectfully, of course. Like
I have not watched a Back to the Future movie all the way through for quite some time, so forgive me if that one particular scene of one particular actor's ass is not burned.
Well, it's not literally. It's not like zoomed in on his fucking butt as he's like like mincing down the street. Although Robert Zemeckis was a coward by not doing that.
Is it to you similar to like what happened to a lot of people in I think it's the very first episode of The Mandalorian when Din climbs up the ladder and it just perfectly frames his entire arse, and you just like.
Do you want to know a fun thing? That's not Pedro Pascal, because Pedro Pascal has no ass. He has no ass. And I saw the first episode, I was like, that's not him. That's a stunt double. I'm not even joking. I am.
Do you know which stunt double it is?
I think it was Lateef. What's his name? Oh no, I think it might have been Brendan Wayne actually, because there's 3.
Oh, I thought there was only 2.
No, there's 3. I think the third dude. I can never remember his name. He's like the third dude on landed on the moon. I feel really bad.
Yeah, he's the Michael Collins of the Mandalorian.
Yeah, Mandalorian Collins. Oh, but yeah, I literally saw that. I was like, that's not him. Where he has cake. Pedro Pascal has like he owns a bakery, but he sells flatbread. It's just.
Yeah, all right.
To be fair, Chile is very, very, because that's where he's from. He's from Chile. Chile has an outrageous amount of like pastries and baked goods and breads and stuff like that, which I would love to go there and just destroy myself with carbs. So, just saying. Okay. Anyway, we were talking about butts, I think.
Do we have any more questions?
No.
Okay, cool.
That is the end of the questions. Okay, good. We shall wrap this up then.
Yes. Right. Thank you very much for coming in and listening to our clam need.
No.
No. No.
No.
But yes, thank you very much. We'll be back next episode. Send us questions and observations or threats or whatever it is you'd like. And tell us how good we did, because quite frankly, we need it. I need it. Okay.
We desire other people to give us the gratification, because the world is hell, and tell us we're doing good, please.
We need validation because we will scream and shit and cry.
Yes.
So thank you for listening. We hope that you stay cool, stay hydrated, and something nice happens to you. And we love you. And bye.
Goodbye.
Bye.